Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. It's Thursday afternoon. It's the last day of April. It's the 30th of April. And we're going to have a little chat today about what we think of the season just gone. We will have a little chat about the Portsmouth game as well, although, really, it's important. We want to win it. If we win that game, we obviously have a good chance of going ninth, which would be, I don't know, I think that would be a fair result. We don't want to prejudge anything just yet before we start having a chat. What I'd like to hear from you is what you think of the season as a whole, what you think should happen now, um, how has the team developed over the year, and are you looking forward to next season? You can also have a little moan about saying moan, a lot of people seem to be unhappy about the increase in season ticket prices. If you have a comment to make on that, then please do so. It would be lovely to hear from you. So let's have a little look, see if we've got anyone around yet. Might do, never know. I haven't got one person on, but no one talking yet. So if you want to come and say hello, come and say hello. I'm on a little bit early as usual, 5 minutes. You never know with these things, something goes wrong. I don't want everyone waiting for me. Um, so I've come on that little bit early. But cast your mind back to, I don't know, 6 months ago when we used to be crashing out all the time and having a nightmare with it and losing visuals and all sorts. And I did sort of blame Facebook, but really I think it was my laptop. Changed my laptop and got some better equipment, and everything sort of went better, to be honest. So here we are. Come and speak. Three people on, no one talking. Come on, guys, it's a live chat. Come and speak to me. Are we going to have the usual people on? I hope. Uh, Fingers crossed. It's a beautiful day here in Spain today. We have got 23 degrees at the moment. Um, I don't know, it's about like mid 70s in UK time, I believe. So that's nice and warm. I believe it's quite nice in the UK, isn't it? Last time I heard it was. Um, so that's good as well. Uh, 6 weeks away from the World Cup. Um, I do like the World Cup. I'm not like massively sort of an England fan or anything. Or you, I sort of watch. I'd watch England, Ireland, or Spain if we get into the last eight. But that's sort of about it. That's sort of it, really. But I don't mind watching the games going into it, like the minnows and all that. I think there's 48 teams this season. My God. John Farmer's on it. How you doing, John? Nice to hear from you, mate. I'm glad the weather's good there today. It's quite unusual, isn't it, to have a nice bit of weather there? But it's been pretty good this year so far, I believe. Um, Tina Baker, good morning, Tina. Ain't seen you for a while. Love, hope you're okay. William's here. Hi, you, Steve. Hope all well. What do you think the close season be like? Uh, be loads of rumours. Well, there's always lots of rumours. I think we are, we have our sources here, and we don't use. Well, I wouldn't put anything in unless I was pretty happy that it was going to happen, and we got more or less everything right last season. We had, in the last two windows, we didn't put a lot of stuff in there, but what we did put in that we knew was going to happen did happen. We had the Vicente one really early, and we also had the Osman one really early. Um, Prisco was one of those. I think there was a lot of people saying it was going to happen, but no one that I really sort of trusted until right at the end. And then I thought, right, that's going to happen, and it did. Um, in terms of what we're going to buy or who we're going to buy, I think we're going to be looking in this close season at probably 5 or 6 players. Tina's saying I'm happy with where we will finish in the table. Not many teams have finished in position straight from coming up from League One. No, they haven't. I was looking at some figures last night actually, and really for a first season back in the Championship, it's a very good season. And I think any team that gets promoted from League One is going to be, happy with ninth or 10th position in the Championship. Our people are going to level things like you've spent a load of money. Well, no one actually knows what we spent, but I think we have. We have spent a lot of money. There's no doubt about that. We haven't spent anywhere near, by the way, what Wrexham spent. Also, there was a lot of pressure put onto the club, onto the team. I think by the club. Uh, I think Tom Wagner, his wording wasn't very good, but he sort of said, it's everyone's wish to get uh, into the Premier League at the first attempt. And of course we wanted to, but he did put a fair bit of pressure on the gaffer. Leslie Alzon, how you doing, Les? Leslie's one of my clients in Spain. How are you, my love? 8 o'clock tomorrow, Les. We're going to do a little bit of. I'm going to box Leslie's head in tomorrow. She's doing a bit of boxing for the first time, so I'm going to smash her up. She don't mind. Tina, sorry I haven't been able to come on for a while. Dad's been unwell, and yesterday, landlord served notice on my house, so I've got to find somewhere. Come over here, love. Come on. I'll make room for you. Why? I hope your dad's all right, darling. I mean, can your landlord just do that like that? That's not nice, is it? You have to tell me what happened. Um, yeah, so I think there'll probably be a different look at, uh, at the actual recruitment. I know it was explained to everyone in that open house, but I don't think it was properly explained. I don't think, Chris Davis was just nodding in agreement with Craig Gardner, and honestly, the way I think it's done, majority of it is done by computer, and I don't think that's probably the best way now. We've had a couple of seasons of that. John Farmer saying a lot will depend on which, if any, of the loan players stay, and will we buy them? Doyle is going back to Doyle's going back to Wolves. I'm pretty sure of that. I think Beadle will be going back to Brighton. In terms of Solis, it's more or less done. He's played 16 games. I think that's over the line, John Solis. The one that we're thinking about is the one I'm thinking about is Osman more than anything else. Just answer Leslie Hale here. 8 a.m. Okay, yeah, we're in at 8 tomorrow, Les. You mean I'm going to put you on your ass? She's got a nasty surprise coming. She's been very brave for someone who, is actually in Spain. I might have to go around and just give her a bit of. That's coming in the morning, so she'll be all right. I've got your gloves ready. I've got some aspirins for you as well, and I've got some cotton wool and some Vaseline to stop the bleeding. You'll be all right, love. Yeah, but going back to that, I think Ibrahim Osman has done really well with us. Now, the big question is what's going to happen with him. Are we going to see Brighton? I mean, we have a great relationship with Brighton. We had 3 players off them last season. All right, then the whole cashing thing didn't go very well, but he finished off at Blackburn and he had a good season. And I think we've also got, Beadle's had a good season with us. And of course, Osman he's been really welcomed into our arms, hasn't he? Osman has been really, really very, very good for us. I think the options with Osman are, could we loan him for another year? That would be the ideal one. The second one, is there a possibility of us buying him, and if, how much? Because there's like rumours of 18, 19 million going around. We ain't going to be paying that. But I think if the right deal was done, 12 million or something with some amortisation and, a little bit of inventive accounting, I think that could be possible. But the other thing we have to think about is what is Ismail Osman's, what does he want to do? He may have Premier League teams coming in for him. Brighton may say, stay with us. You're going to be figuring in the Premier League next season. There's a lot of things going on with that deal, and I think if we got something over the line, it would be brilliant for the Blues, and well done whoever does it. Tina Baker is selling up. He's selling up. Okay, new tenants laws are enforced tomorrow, and lots of landlords don't like it, so selling up. Stressed. I would love to move abroad. Logistics too difficult. Kids, etc. That is okay now. Thanks. Thanks. Heart trouble, but comes with age. I got the Blues match on for him last Saturday in the hospital. Give him my love. Did he have like a heart attack or something? I worked in cardiac rehabilitation in the UK, in the NHS for a while, and you know, I know how traumatic those things can be. Yeah, so Ibrahim Hosman, possibility. If we look back over the season and sort of think how have we done, I think, you know, we started off well, didn't we? You know, the Ipswich game sort of promised us loads of things, but I think we were a little bit too lightweight in a lot of ways. Um, we didn't have the size, did we? I don't think you know we didn't have we only had Chris Clara that was over 6'1", apart from Beadle who didn't start the season. Um, so I think we lacked in size. We bought a lot of foreign players who had never played in the UK, and I think there were gambles on some of them. I think Kyogo was a big gamble. You know, probably Chris Davis or um, Craig Gardner could have looked at Kyogo's previous season when he had a similar thing. You know, he didn't score um, for whatever reason. Obviously, you know, I forget where he came from. Came from now. I think it was Reims, and you know and like the argument was, well, I didn't get on with the manager and all that, but whatever, you know, he played and he didn't score, and you could say the same here when he goes from here. I didn't get on with the manager, but I didn't score. So I think we've probably got him, Kanya Fujimoto as well at the end of their careers. They're 29, 30 years of age. So I think there's two possibilities for us. If we can move them on, to move them on. They're under contract, so they don't have to move anywhere. Um, there has to be, you know, questions over the purchase of Marvin Dux, who, again, see, this is buying someone on the back of a video and not actually seeing them play. You know, you look at Dux's, you know, film videos of Dux, and he looks the business, but we know he can go missing. He hasn't got that thing that we need. You know, he's never going to press Dux, isn't. If you look at the pressing done by Vicente, um, Priska and Stansfield, and then look at what Dux does, we can't afford to have that luxury in the team, in my opinion. So I think Marvin Dux is one that we have to try and look to move on. Now, whether or not, I did say before that I think because of his drink drive, we could actually cancel his contract, but I mean, it might be a little bit harsh on the lad. I don't know, but it's just what I understand. Because that could be seen as bringing the club into disrepute. So I think the club would have good legs to stand on there, because these players are role models as well as everything else. And you know, I don't think it sets a very, it doesn't set out a very good stall, does it, for, you know, a player that kids look up to be done for drink driving after a game. You know, it just doesn't. Apart from that, how about, you know, what's going to happen now with the pivotal two at the base of the midfield? I think John Solis, he's definitely going to sign. I think it's something that's done. But what do we do now with? Are we going to look at like refreshing that midfield altogether? So we've got Pake, who's had a decent season. He's a nice footballer. He'll hold his own in the championship, but we don't want someone that holds their own. And I think Iwata as well. He's probably played his better football at right back this season. And I think the two of those in the middle, do we want to look at freshening that up? I mean, I've no doubt there will be takers for Iwata and Pike. And if we just opened our mind up a little bit and think it is possible to exist without those two, and look at bringing in, you know, I mean, I'm not suggesting for a minute Scott Twine, right? But you can bring a player like Scott Twine in. You know, there are players like this around, and you know, instead of looking at videos of them, go and actually see them and think what you know, have a little think about it, and then see if we can do some kind of deals with some of these, you know, more like championship players and younger, you know, Pake and Iwata. You know, they're at the end of their careers now. Well, they've both been absolutely brilliant for us, but it might be time to just turn the page on those players. Tina's saying I couldn't get a ticket for the men's game Saturday, so going to Charlton instead to cheer on the women's. Fingers crossed they win and get promoted. It's you know, honestly, it's typical Blues, isn't it, for the ladies to get themselves into that position. I mean, all we had to do was beat Ipswich, and we're in the WSL, 3-0 down after 8 minutes. Absolutely unbelievable. But I know they're doing free coaches, which will be good. So that hopefully we're going to take a good following there. Peter Hallen's on. Interesting to know if we'll try and get Beadle back, either another loan or has that ship sailed and we need to look elsewhere. From my point of view, Pete, I think we do need to look elsewhere now. I mean, unless we can buy him and get a really good deal, I don't think we want to loan Beadle again. I really don't. I think we need to have our own established number one now. He's had a good season. He's a young lad. He's still learning. He has got points in his game that he could probably improve. He could be a little bit stronger. I mean, he's 6'7". He ain't going to get any bigger, but he needs to fill out a little bit. I don't think he carries enough. Um, he hasn't got a big enough frame. But he is an extremely good goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong. I'm not having a bash at Beadle here because he's the best goalkeeper we've got, and he's had a very, very good season, in my opinion. But I think they'll go for a established championship keeper. And there's a lot of keepers around, you know. I mean, I was just saying the other day about John Ruddy, you know, that kind of goalkeeper. I know Ruddy's older. It doesn't really matter with a keeper. But, you know, I think we need someone now who can be. You haven't got to worry at all. We need someone who's got a decent, who can pass the ball, distribute the ball from the goal, and is also strong in the box. John Farmer is saying, I think Blues will wait for the court verdict and police report before this. Well, they have to because, of course, he hasn't been officially done for drink drive yet. Although, if he's blown over the limit, I don't know if he's like, I don't know what the score is, so I won't pretend to. But, you know, I mean, reading between the lines, that's going to happen in it, you know. Scott Harrison is on, and he said hello to me. How do you, Scott? I hope you're all right, mate. Yeah, did anyone hear Emma Miller on this morning on BBC WM? I'd like to hear that if we have. Apparently, which is great news, the Jeff Hall Memorial has been, someone's gone down, another graffiti artist, I believe, and tidied it all up and made it look brilliant. I don't know if anyone's going to take a photo and stick it in the group or something. Obviously, I can't see it, so it would be good if we could see that because I'd love to see it. And well done to M for chasing it, and for us, and for Pete Pete Allen for bringing it to our attention. Pete, by the way, is our historian at the Blues at the project, and we're going to see. We were having a really big it's a long story. Our website, we're like rethinking it. But anyway, whatever happens, Peter's going to be having his own history, his own little history slot on there. He might even be doing some podcasts on his own. I think it's something he can do now quite happily, and I think that would be brilliant for Pete. And the guy is he's great to have on the air with you, and he's also really, really good at writing, and he likes to talk. And I think when him and Emma Miller get together, it's a proper long battle, But I'm looking forward to seeing some of your stuff, Pete. Yeah, so I don't know what your thoughts about Iwata and Pike. Do we want to, do we want to keep them? What are your thoughts? Or could we, like with Solis, and bring in some younger, hungrier players to fill in that three in that position, and then wide, we're blessed with wide players, and I think definitely there's a new front three there, isn't there, with Vicente, Stansfield, and Prisca, and I think that's the way it's going to go. Might not be a bad idea to bring another experienced centre forward in to help Prisca. It's a lot to do in his first real full season in the English game. So another similar centre forward to Prisca, maybe someone who's a little bit more. I'm not going to say direct. Who's more of a target man. We won't be playing the long ball. We know that. But just for the last 10 or 15 minutes sometimes, and imagine if you had Priska and another up there, then it would be different. So that's something to definitely look at. In the back four, I think Phil Neumann has done enough recently to give us faith in him. He had a few little nightmares earlier on in the season. His distribution isn't great, but at the end of the day, he's a good centre half when he wants to be. He's athletic, he's fast, and I think over the last few weeks he's proven to us that he can be consistent. I think Clara goes without saying. We have two very good right backs with Laird and Samuel, and next season, of course, we're going to have Buchanan, hopefully back at some point. But we will have Cochrane and Wagner. So those two together, it gives us. We look strong. I think. I would see us bringing. I've said it all season. Well, I have said it since Christmas that we're going to bring in a left-sided centre half. We did. Jonathan Panzo isn't really the answer, but I think we'll still be bringing that left-sided centre half in. There's been a lot of talk about our setup as well, this 4-2-3-1. And I did say earlier in the season we could go to a 4-3-2-1, which is a similar sort of setup. The whole thing about sideways and backwards, and also he hasn't had a plan B. Honestly, and I don't know what you know, but I know what I watch, and he has used plan A, B, C, and D throughout this season. 4-2-3-1 is a very, very flexible setup. If you think about it, you can go, which is what we do, with the four at the back, the two pivots, and then the two central defenders, and then we tend to go wide. So we have Osman and Vicente as is at the moment, and then in the middle we have the number 10, and then up top, number 10 at the moment, say Stansfield, and then up top we have the striker, so Priska. But there's lots of other ways of playing that system. You could play narrow with it, so you can play the four at the back, the two pivots, and in front of them you could play a number 8 and a number 10. So you could play, for instance, Stansfield and Roberts, and then you could play with one winger like let's say Dimmy and Priska up top. So, and he's done that several times. He's brought, when Roberts has played, Roberts has come in and played deep. He plays deeper anyway than Vicente, and he likes to come in on his left, which means he'll come in. Dimmy can also come in like that, which makes us a lot harder to break down, probably away from home. So he has done that. And don't forget, people were going, Wrexham. And then when he did it at Derby, just give me one moment. When we played at Derby, and I'm just checking for, you've all been quiet for the last 10 minutes. When we played at Derby, and Chris Davies went to 3 at the back. So in other words, playing the way Wrexham do, more or less. It was obviously went disastrously wrong, but no one noticed. I was doing a review of it later, and people are going, no plan B. They don't understand what they're watching. We actually watched, a 5 at the back, 3 central defenders, and then the 2 wing backs. I forget who played on the right. Who was that? Was it Asai Samuel? And on the left, it was Iwata. And on the left, I don't know why Chris Davies did it, but he tried Ismail Osman on the left. Ismail Osman's no left wing back. Iwata slightly better, but we could see that was just a nightmare from the start. I think and he has changed. He has changed setups in match before, but he failed to do it in that one. And I think when it was obviously going wrong, the 3 was Neumann, Clara, and Panzo, and it just, Panzo isn't a left. he's not a left fullback, and he's not particularly a good left-sided centre half, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, the lad's all right. You know, he hasn't had a nightmare for us, but he ain't really what we're looking for. So when people complain about the way we set up, and the, when you play narrow like that, sometimes you have to play narrow because we haven't got the big man to help us with the long ball, or when the wingers go wide, when we cross the ball to challenge and put defenders under pressure. Now we've got that, we're a little bit more direct. We can also make sure that we go wide all the time. Beforehand, sideways and backwards, I've explained it to you loads of times. It's like trying to break down that low block with 8, 9, 10 players in front of you is really hard. And if they defend deep, you can't go over the top because there's no room. So it is difficult. And then you get hit on the break, you know, inevitably you do. Tina's saying, I do think we could possibly benefit from another striker. I do as well. You know, I think, Tina, if we get someone who's, you know, Priska's going to be in his first full season. He's only a kid. He's absolutely wonderful. I love him to bits. But I think he could do with that help. You know, if he has a couple of games, he gets a bit tired, or, you know, an hour in, we want to change it up a little bit and see what happens. Because when you've got Stansfield, Priska and Vicente on the pitch together, the mileage they do is unbelievable. I mean, it really is. It's like the press is brilliant, and of course, like the press from the front, the press to score, and they do it quite regularly. You know, when you look at it, Tina Baker's saying definitely a new keeper. Paul Beadle can't do anything right. I know what you mean, love. Yeah, um, he saves goals and still gets stick from the fans. I think he gets too much stick now for him to stay, and most fans are not happy with him. I don't know, to be honest, Tina, if you're right there, because I don't know if it is most fans that are unhappy with him. I think it's the fans that open the mouths that don't like him. I've said it loads of times, and like our group really, you know, we got like 26,000 people in the group, 1.5 million interactions every month. But we have none of those big loudmouths, do we? You know, we don't have anyone who's always on. You know, someone who is always there. And if you look at a few other groups I could name, if you look every week at the at the nasty, shitty comments, it's always going to be the same 9 or 10 protagonists, and they've all been banned from here. And I know them, you know, by name. I can't remember them individually because I'm not that bothered about them, but the name rings a bell, you know. Um, so that's like, say, a group with 12,000 members in it. If there's 20 that are big mouths, that leaves 11,980. Is that right? Yeah. That aren't big mouths, but they're scared to open the mouth in the forum because no one protects them. So moderation isn't carried out. No, if you know, you can call someone see you next Tuesday or whatever you want. You're not going to get removed from the group. That's going to just carry on. Um, you know, we have a moderation team of 14 people. We do it properly. We don't have any shit, and that's the way we are. But so you know, but even the groups that have got the really bad, you know, every time you look at them when Blues lose, it's absolutely toe-curlingly horrible. They don't protect anyone. They just let them do what they want because they haven't got the balls to challenge it. You know, where we have. And of course, as you know, we have like players' families, managers' families, coaches' families. You know, Jay Stansfield and that's nannies on here all the time. You know, and these people, these are families. I spoke about it yesterday in our mental health thing, football, mental health in football. But all these are families, and they see their sons and dads and mums and getting slated, you know, and even the ladies last week were getting it. They can't stop themselves. It's not like it used to be, where it used to be just a few, you know, it's all social media, isn't it? And a lot of these fans are Johnny come latelys, you know, they don't understand what it is to support Blues. They think, you know, that they think we've just had a really bad season. That's, you know, that's how naive they are. Of course, we haven't had a bad season. I mean, for us, fucking hell, man, it's like walking on air when we finished 10th in the championship now. No, it shouldn't be like that, but it's always been 150 years of shouldn't be like that, but it is. And I don't have any great expectations of Blues. I don't. And I was saying, I was talking to a Chelsea fan today, and a guy I know, and he's a bit long in the tooth like me, and he was saying how shit it is being a Chelsea supporter because the players only play when they want to. Like they're into a Wembley final, but they only turned it on in that semi-final because they wanted to be there. They're bigger than the manager. And I was saying to him, it won't bother me if we don't get into the Premier League because I love the Championship. It's an absolutely brilliant league. Tina's saying, I've noticed lately some people that comment aren't even Blues fans. What's that all about? Why we don't want to be in a Birmingham group? Uh, it's an interesting one, Tina, but we, because we will come up on lots of people's feeds because we're a public group. So we have quite, and listen, I've got mates from years ago who supported the teams, probably not, didn't talk so much to each other in those days, but now, everyone's friends. And it's quite good sometimes to have opinions of other people. And you see it happen loads of times in our group. I don't know, like Villa fan in peace. We had someone the other day, like, Villa fan in peace. It's absolutely brilliant what you're doing with the kids. That was Anne Marie Ward saying it's absolutely brilliant what we do with the kids, send them on holiday and all that stuff. I know a few Villa fans, who come into our group and like the way that we manage the group and the sort of envious of the way we manage it because Villa are the same as us. They have the same sort of idiots. Um, so I don't mind it, but the minute they say anything that's out of order, even slightly bit out of order, like a bit of a piss take about the new ground or anything like that, they're gone. They've just gone straight away. Cliff Campbell saying they have microwave lives. Um, it's sad. Keep watch on that. Thank you, Cliff. That's very kind of you, mate. We just there to make sure that we can have a voice. The reason I started this group was because I used to go to another group that is full of those idiots, and I just thought, something. The only way you're ever going to cure this is to start your own group, and that's what I did. Angus is saying our highest championship finish in a long while. We push on next season and hopefully go up. Yeah, it'd just be really nice to have a season where we were right up there, wouldn't it? You look at the championship now, and I mean, if you're a Middlesbrough fan, how would you be feeling? Would you be feeling like the gaffer's got to go? They've been in the top two virtually all season, and now it looks to me like they ain't going to go up automatically. They're going to go. They're going to be in the playoffs. So if Middlesbrough in the playoffs and they don't go up, has that manager failed this season or not? You know. Look at Wrexham. I mean, I'm not a Phil Parkinson fan. I think he's just a dinosaur manager to me, and he can be a bit of a dick as well. But you can't deny him that he's gone from the National League, League Two, League One. He's in the Championship. They could get in the playoffs. They've got a hard game tomorrow against Middlesbrough, who are going to want to be like pushing all they can with that last chance of getting in the automatics. Of course, Wrexham are going to be wanting to do it as well. I don't think they've quite got they're quite going to manage that to beat Middlesbrough tomorrow. I hope they don't. Um, so if Wrexham don't get into playoffs, what are their supporters' thoughts on Phil Parkin? You know, it's a very, very thin line between success and failure, and it depends how. It doesn't matter what I mean. It does matter what the fans think, but at the end of the day, that decision lies with the men up top. That's who it lies with. And at Blues, of course, we have Tom Wagner, who's probably the man that makes the final decision. But we don't know exactly when Tom's going to be back. The club has they have their United people in the club. Andrew Shanahan is there. We have Tom Healy. He isn't like in the club all the time. Tom's daughter Paris is in the club and working every day at St Andrews. So we have the United connection. People saying, I mean, it's a little bit unbelievable when people start saying stuff like, you know, I mean, I'm dead worried like Tom Wagner's there. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Is anyone looking at what we're doing? There are like thousands of investors in Knighthead who have money in Blues. What do you think they're just going to go? Oh, Tom Wagner's not well. Just forget our money in there. And when they put things like season ticket prices up, they have. It is like a normal. We aren't like a normal a normal club where we probably you could, for instance, have a chairman and have four members of your family sitting on the board, and that's it. You know, this isn't. This is a hedge fund. They have to show that they're working on increasing profits all the time to their investors. So it's their investors that will be pressing them to earn more money and to make it all happen quicker. They want their money back ASAP. So, you know, when they put money on the season tickets to get some more money back, it's to keep their investors interested in us and possibly bring more investors in, which gives us more leg room. You know, so don't be too fast to jump on things when it goes a little bit tits up. Because, like I've said, it wouldn't have bothered me. It would bother me if we went out of business. But if we carried on trundling along in the Championship for the next 10 years, getting near the playoffs, getting the playoffs occasionally, I'd be quite happy with that. You know, I've supported Blues for many, many years. But if you're one of these like you know people that we've seen quite recently who think anything below sixth place in your first season back in the Championship is failure, then you're going to be really disappointed, I think. Um, Tina's saying two extra teams next year go into playoffs, so could yeah it could of course it could be possible next season. What happens next season is I believe so you got your top two, then you got your next four, then fifth plays sixth at home. Sorry, seventh plays eighth at home, and then sixth plays the winner of that at home, and then that leaves you with four that go into the playoff semi-finals. Complicated, isn't it? The reason they've done it, obviously, is to earn more money, and get more Sky money, more interest in the Championship, makes it a better division for everyone. Tina would say it'd be crazy if Wrexham get promoted. That would be back to back to back to back to back to back to back promotion. Never been done. I really hope they don't. They're not the best advert for English football. They're absolutely awful, and the ground isn't ready for it. They got a manager that's a dinosaur. Listen, a lot of you are going to disagree with what I'm saying there, but I just don't like Wrexham. I don't like the manager. I hate the way they play. They play like something out of the 1980s, and I'm quite 99.9% positive they will not get promoted. But you never know, I suppose. Could. Emma Miller's here. Hi Steve, what a busy morning. Got to fill you in on the Uncle Jeff artwork. We have success. Good. Emma Miller, you can see probably see the comment there. Emma is Jeff Hall's niece, and we were talking on the phone yesterday, Emma and myself, and we did a podcast together as well about the Jeff Hall Memorial that had the moustache painted on it. Well, apparently he's had the moustache shaved off now, and he looks young again. But seriously, that's absolutely brilliant news, Emma. I hope your stuff on BBC One, no, sorry, BBC WM went well as well, and it's nice to have you on, my love. Yeah, if Wrexham go up, I'm going to be gutted, man. Seriously, I'm absolutely amazed that they are where they are. To be honest, I am, because I mean, look, when we played them, I just look at that team and think, how on earth have they done that? But they have, and it hasn't been a good Championship this season. It hasn't. There's no really good teams in that Championship this season. Probably take away Coventry, because as much as I don't like Coventry either, fair play to Lampard. I mean, they've played a fairly attractive. They have played attractive football. They play the same setup as us, 4-2-3-1. They've got some very good footballers. The Gates have been good. Like their home form is. I mean, we had the fourth best home form in the championship. So in terms of home form, we were in the top six. In terms of away form, we're probably in the bottom five. You know, so it was away games that let us down. Well, Coventry were better than us, Ipswich were better than us, and Southampton were better than us at home. Lee's here. How you doing, son? You all right? Yeah, you're late, Lee. Yeah, you are a bit late. I've been on for 30 minutes or so. So you come on long enough you got long enough to have a say, mate, if you want. Quite a few comments though. We're having an interesting conversation. Well, I am. I'm talking to myself, I think. No, we've had 30 odd comments, which is nice. Um, yeah, and I just wonder if anything else is going to change. You know, uh, Peter Hannon is saying brilliant effort from the Blues independent groups to sort out four coaches for the seaside trip. The fact so many parents were interested tells its own story. Times are tough for so many people these days. We uh, well done to those who have renewed their season tickets for next season, but for others, this outlay may be a step too far. It doesn't make their love for the club any less. Let's stay humble. Agree on both fronts there, Pete. You know, some people kind of thought, you know, yeah, I hate this, like, again, like it's this sort of privileged, like, outlook in it, you know, this sort of look at me, I'm better than you. I'll go to all the away games. Or, you know, then, you know, if you don't want to go, there's thousands of people that will take your place. So just don't go if you find it difficult. And the other thing is, you know, like they say, oh, you don't go down. You know, the person might be unemployed. They might not be able to afford to go down. They could have been Blues fans for years and years. Keep your gob shut. You know, that's it. One of the prerequisites of supporting Blues isn't to go to the ground. I haven't been for a while. I've done like 55 years, bit more probably, of going to the Blues, home, away, Division One, Division Two, Division Three, Premier League. You know. So it's just hard to listen to some of these idiots that we have now. It really is. Um, But of course, like, you know, the days of just wanting to go to a away game, that's gone. So you used to be able to ring your mate up in the morning, you want to go down to fucking Wrexham were in the same division as us, I don't think, many times. So, you know, you want to go to Wigan tonight, Tuesday night, yeah, we'll go, come on, fuck it. Or Saturday morning, do you want to go to, I don't know, like, do you want to go to Norwich today? Yeah, let's go. In the van, off you go. Get yourself in there one way or another, get your ticket, you know, whatever. Of course, it's all changed now. It's totally different. So, you know, you have to have your little, you know, like your gold or gold plus or platinum or whatever it is, and wear it like a badge. Um, Listen, I know that everyone that gets those golds, platinums, and all that at the start, a lot of people there never really qualify for those. But that's another story. And uh, you know, so you know, when they give it the big one about that, it does my head in. And complaining about going away, like we're the ones that have to go and put up with it. You don't have to go and put up with it. You know, I'm pretty sure, and I know a lot of people that don't go actually get the ticket and sell it on, so they keep their platinum or gold. When really that's wrong, isn't it? If you want to be shitty about it, you shouldn't really be doing that because you're not really going. You're allowing someone else to go to keep you at the top of the tree. You know. Listen, I haven't got any problem with any of that, but just don't act mightier than thou, you know, or holier than thou when you're not. We all know the score, you know. Um, yeah, the seaside thing was really humbling, to be honest. I mean, it's an idea that we had, and with the help of some funding as well, um, by several people, and you know, funds that we've raised ourselves along with the other guys. You know, Tony Routley, Blues Central Blues away travel, Keith at the Zulus, um, Big Sing Blues for All, uh, Emma at Black Country Blues. You know, there's like 9 groups that work together to do these things, And to see some of the letters that people sent in. I've got 3 kids. I've never ever been to the seaside. I mean, what is that all about? This day and age, it's absolutely awful, isn't it? So we've been able to send, or we will be able to send 200 people. Um, we want to get this right the first time we do it. So later on in the year, we will be doing other things. Not as it's in England, isn't it? So the summer season is pretty non-existent really. So when it comes to later in the year, perhaps around bonfire night or getting, I don't know, but there will be other things going on for those families, and we know who's going on this one. So obviously next time, people that don't quite, uh, manage to go, we're not having gold, silver, and platinum members. Um, if you're lucky enough to go on the seaside one, then next time it will probably have. It'll, Tina's saying she's sorry she got my blood pressure up. You're always doing that, Tina. Bloody hell. Uh, um, that next time you'll be able to go on a different one. But and then of course we've got Christmas, and then you got Easter, but we're going to do loads more stuff. We want to look after our children, and we want to look after the old people as well. So when winter comes, we will be doing a lot for the retired people and ex-servicemen as well. Lee Harvey saying, fair play, decent beach in Barmouth. I've never been to Barmouth, to be honest. In Wales, isn't it? I've never been to Barmouth, so I don't know. But I think it's like one of the closest or one of the easiest to get to from the Black Country and Blues. We got two coaches going from Birmingham and 2 coaches going from the Black Country and Oldbury or something. So that'll be good. It's actually closed now because we had so many applicants. We just couldn't cope with any more. So we've actually, thanks to some really hard work by people behind the scenes here, we've done. We're actually going through everything now to try and decide who can go and who can't, and that's a really horrible job to do that. Lee says about 50 minutes from me, mate, on the train. Yeah, we'll be going in coaches, not as posh as you, Lee. So yeah, Pete makes a good point. You've got to stay humble with this sort of thing. Don't be telling everyone how brilliant you are because you go and watch the club live, because it's what nearly everyone wants to do, and not everyone can do it. It doesn't make you any better supporter than them. It doesn't. It might be that you have more money and they have less money. It may be that you've been able to obtain tickets when others haven't. There's lots of things that go into it. Doesn't make you any less a supporter if you can't go. We haven't got any money. It doesn't. Angus is saying, my signal is going. Catch up with you on Sunday, Steve. Keep it on, Angus. All the best, mate. You look after yourself, son. Good luck for the Blues on Saturday. Saturday's game will be interesting. Last time I went to Portsmouth, I think, was in the Cup. I think it was it the last 8 or 16? I think we lost 2-0 or 2-1. Anyway, Portsmouth, I think Portsmouth will have a go. They're safe. They play a 4-2-3-1 the way we do, but they don't play as well as us. Um, Bishop up front, Swift and Swift, Blair and Segacic are the front, are the 3 behind them. So they might give us a few little problems. They're at home, so it's always an advantage. But I think we're going to go there looking to win, of course. Not Jason Dozzell, the other Dozzell that we had at Blues from Ipswich. What's his name? I can't remember his first name. He's there. He's one of the pivots, and the other one, Lee Rowe. So we'll just see what happens. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think we'll beat them. I do. It's one we should be looking at winning. Lee Harvey saying he's going for another 2-1 win, mate. All right. I'll be putting my little prediction box in tomorrow. Like I did last week, and I had a 2-1 last week, so I got it right. It's the first time I've done it. Solly's both goals. I think that would be highly unlikely, but you never know. Blues have gone big on John Solis over the last few days. I've seen a few podcasts where people are actually having a go at him, saying he didn't play very well on Saturday and he made a few mistakes. So what? Every footballer makes mistakes. John Solis has been a breath of fresh air for me at Blues. He's brought some much needed strength into that back, into the two defensive mids. He wins the ball. His distribution isn't great, but he's going to get better. He's a young lad. He scored his first goal, and you know what he did? He scored from the press, didn't he? So fair play to him. And people still find, people who should know better still find fault with him, which surprises me. But he, working for networks, sometimes you have to you have to try to agree with the majority. It's different with us. We can do what we want. But John Solis is definitely been a nice addition for us. Him and Vicente, I think. Well, and Prisca, though, those three have been absolutely brilliant additions in January. Ducks, I'm not, for me, no. I think he probably, if we can move him on, move him on. Panzo was a late loan because we needed that extra centre half. I'm struggling to think who else we signed in that window. Osman, of course, Osman's been absolutely breath of fresh air. I love the way the lad goes wide and he can go along the goal line, can't he? And he just goes past people as if they're not there. I love him. Tina saying Frampton Park provide a good atmosphere, don't they? In predicting 1-0 Blues, Prisca. Let's hope Prisca can score, Tina, yeah? I really want to get some goals, a bit like Kyogo. Well, and when you say he's a bit like Kyogo, I presume you meaning that he hasn't scored yet. But yeah, he's absolutely the opposite to Kyogo, but I know what you mean. I was willing that ball to go in on Saturday when it just... You could see it was going in, wasn't it? It was going to hit the post and go in, and then it just had a weird little spin at the end. I was literally crying. But, yeah, talking about crying, I had to go and change my driving licence the other day over here. And I went into this little busy little town to go and do it, and I was there at lunchtime, and I parked the car in the back street, managed to find my way to the place to renew my licence, did it, and I couldn't find my car. Honestly, I was like 13,500 steps and an hour later, I still couldn't find my car. When I eventually seen it, I nearly burst into tears. I was like, I thought I was going to die just walking around this town for the rest of my life. So I know what it's like to be Prisca and not scoring that goal. Like I said, last time I went to Fratton Park was that, probably, it must be like nearly 20 years ago. As you come into the away end, it might be different now. There were like row of houses at the back with all the beds. A bit like Luton, It was like weird watching people sit there having the dinner. It was funny. Yeah, I know you meant the goals too now. I know. Yeah, last time I went there, I was with a lot of the old lads, and it was an absolutely brilliant day out. Although we lost, but it always is good. And then, of course, later on that night, I lived in Bournemouth at the time, and everyone came into Bournemouth, and that was brilliant. It was absolutely great time. Brighton's always a good one to go to, and it's day the night. That one's good. But anyway, I digress. So we've had a nice little chat for the last hour or so. I might do a pre-match one on Saturday morning, but I don't think there's much point because everyone's going to be going out early. I might go and watch it in the pub over here. I haven't made my mind up yet. I'm sort of like that, watch it at home, go out for a drink after. I don't know. I like one of my mates that I go with sometimes. He's not around Saturday, so I've got a few other people I could go with. I haven't just got one friend, but yeah, I'll see what happens. If you are going on Saturday, have an absolutely brilliant time. It's a fair old drive. Well, it isn't that bad actually, is it? I mean, when you think of like Southampton, Portsmouth, South Coast like that, it's just straight down the A34, isn't it? I think that's right. So not really that bad, and it's an early kick-off. So the nice thing about early kick-offs is it's a bit shit in a way, but it's also quite good because you get home a bit earlier, don't you? Or you have longer wherever you go to stay out and have a drink and still get home that night. But Absolutely enjoyed today's little chat. I've been doing a lot of talking. I have to go down and have a little lie down for a bit now, ease my voice, have a little chill. It's been nice to see Tina back on today and Lee a little bit late, but back on. Uh, Great to see everyone, to be honest. I mean, you know, we get a really nice little group of people here, and when this is played again in the evening off YouTube, it's always, or it's not. Well, we do sometimes. I can just put it out again from here if I want. But don't forget our YouTube channel. There's a lot of stuff on there. And I mean, on YouTube, our videos go back for a couple of years. It's quite interesting to what, you know, like when Rooney went and all that. You can go and see what I said then and all that business. It's quite good. Um, I hate it though because you hate watching yourself, you know. But that's how it is. Anyway, guys, let's get 3 points tomorrow and let's finish ninth if we can. If Norwich fail, we've got a better goal difference. It's almost impossible for us to finish lower than 10th because our goal difference is better than, I forget who it is below us. So, you know, it's going to be our best finish for 10 years, 11 years. We got the ladies on Sunday. I might do a ladies pre-match one. I'll see what happens. We have got our normal Sunday morning one that we do on Zoom. If you want to come on that one, you know what you should do is come on and actually in the studio with us and talk to us. You know, face to face. It's good. It's a laugh. But if you want to do that, Tina, I hope your dad feels better, my love, and I hope you manage to sort yourself out somewhere to live. I'm sure you will. Have an absolutely brilliant day, guys, and thank you so much for sharing the last hour or so with me. Listen, come on the Blues, all right? It is, look, I ain't done it for a few days. Keep right on. I've added a bit more around this. I've had all my arm like filled in a bit more. Can't stop myself. I'm addicted. See you later, guys. Thank you.